Hi everybody, Keith here again. I haven't done one of these for a while, but I thought I'd do this one and we'll see how we get on with it. Right, this is Zygopetalum crinitum, which I got from Burnham's. I think at the East Midlands Orchid Society show, which means it was something like a year last October, and it's now the 24th of February 2025, so I've had it about 18 months and I haven't repotted it yet. And I didn't because it seemed to be doing well, and you can see here that we had a nice new growth there and we had another nice new growth here, but this new growth is not happy at all. So as I think it's in fairly desperate need of being repotted, and I think that new growth will end up coming off. Yeah, well, considering Zygos like to be moist, and this was watered last week, it doesn't look good. So there's something very much not right with this. But let's see. I mean, yeah, the bark's well on its way. I've got some packing beans which I can use again. It's obviously been in this pot for a long time, before I ever got it, so I really shouldn't be surprised, I suppose, that something's not really right. But I think the problem is that there's nothing much happening underneath that, and I am going to take that off. It is green at the bottom, but I'm going to take it off because once it's got to the state it's in, it's not going to repair itself, I don't think. So I'm going to take that off and I'll give it some cinnamon to heal that over. But I've still got a good growth over here, and there is a root tip just protruding from the bottom of that, so hopefully that will get it going. Now this is in a bit of a tangle. I don't know what's where or which roots are any good, and that's in small bark, so that gives me an idea of where to go. So what I'm going to do is just drop this into some water, and it probably isn't going to take ever so long. There's a lot of air bubbles coming off it, so I would say that means that the roots are working, but the bark has obviously not been working ever so well for it. Now the bark I've got to replace it with is not very different from what it's been in. So let's try and see about getting there. Has that gone through it? Yes, it has. That's actually gone straight through the plastic, which is why I couldn't shift it. But most of these are trying to plump up, so I'm going to leave it a little bit longer and just put these few packing beans in the bottom in the hope they will give me a little bit of drainage at the bottom. The other thing, of course, about soaking roots is they become much more flexible. You can certainly see which ones are really no good and where you need to start trimming, because like that's showing absolutely nothing, but we've got other parts of the same roots that are showing green. So the root itself isn't completely dead, but parts of it are. So that's looking much better, much better, and I reckon that we can look to repot that, because there's some really nice roots in here. They're nearly all plumped up straight away. There's no problems with most of these. You won't have a problem at all, I don't think. So I say most of these are looking as if they will do something for the plant. Very different appearance in almost no time at all. So yeah, some of these they've got sort of squashed up against the edge of the pot. I think it'll go back in there. I mean, like most orchids, they don't particularly like being in too big a pot, and this being a type that likes it on the damper side, I'm not going to say wet side because I don't believe there are many bog orchids, as you might say. I'm turning the pot, you may well know this, the trick that Roger showed many years ago now, that if you've got long roots and you're trying to get them into a pot, because you really want to get it in and tight and what have you, if you turn the pot with wet roots, what you will get is the roots will coil. They'll follow the direction of the pot. So when you put in all these long roots in, you don't have to start chopping off, because yes, a lot of orchids will branch, but a lot don't. And if you don't know what you're doing, and for all that I've been keeping these things for 7 or 8 years now, I do not believe that I know what I'm doing. Right, I think that is probably about as good as it's going to get. Put a little bit more in, because I want to have these pseudo bulbs more or less at the same height as the top of the medium. What I don't like doing, and I learned that with my Psychopsis, is I don't like to bury them unless I know that it won't react badly to it. I had a Psychopsis, and it liked wet feet, it did not like wet bulbs. I don't know how it has ever evolved like that, but if you got the bulbs wet at the base, they'd rot like light. A couple of days later they'd be turning black. Unless you caught it straight away, you'd lose it. So that's a very quick, what have we got, about 9 minutes start to finish. This is a very rapid repot of Zygopetalum crinitum, and now all we can do is wait and see. But I think at that we've got lots of nice roots, we've got a decent situation. So if I now give that some fertilised water, because I really spotted it. I'd noticed the pseudo bulb that was starting to fail, but I was wondering quite how far it was going to go, and when you look at it, you just keep going and going and going, and you're just down to a couple of leaves, and yeah, they're all right, but no, the chances are that's on its way, and there were no roots coming out the bottom, which is what matters. So okay, we've now got something like that to have a play with, and I hope that's been of some kind of interest. Zygos I tend to be able to keep, although I've not done very well with them lately. I've struggled, and I still think it's down to me being ill, about 2 years ago now. And the trouble is that instead of being able to be on top of it and with it, and really keeping tabs on things, I was out of action pretty much from the middle of February until probably the middle of May 2023, where I had it was very difficult to stand. I had edema, my legs were really big with fluid retention, and I was struggling to walk, so it made it very difficult to come in here and stand up and go up and downstairs and do all the maintenance I needed to do, so they tended to get a bit neglected. And the other thing I've found is that being on steroids affected me mentally, and I wasn't as sharp and with it and bothered, so it's taken a long time. I only came off those steroids in August 2024, and I'm still not quite catching up exactly, but I'm now starting to see things in a much closer focus than I have been doing, so hopefully I can start to pull things round again. So as I say, thanks for watching. I hope this has been of some interest, and I look forward to seeing you soonish. Bye for now.